Welcome to the Cash Flow Guys podcast. Join Tyler and his team as they unlock the secrets to achieving financial independence through wealth-building strategies inspired by Robert Kiyosaki and other thought-provoking leaders.
Learn to build leveraged streams of cash flow that land in your pocket and improve your quality of life.
Gain access to cutting-edge ideas that will increase your productivity and streamline your success. Find out how to supercharge your retirement plan so you won't have to retire with a pay cut.
You can escape the rat race.
Are you ready?
It's time to Learn to Earn with Tyler Sheff.
Welcome to Cash Flow Guys podcast. It's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cover a new topic. Yes, that's right, a new topic. I know you were just tickled pink with excitement of all the stuff I've been covering lately. I've been making jokes about realtors and doing all the good stuff that we know that we have fun with, raising money. We've covered all different kinds of topics, but today we're hitting a brand new topic. It's a topic that I think is pretty cool, and it's actually something that I'm interested in. And ladies and gentlemen, remember when I started this podcast, part of the reason was I was too cheap to hire an attorney sometimes. So when I wanted legal advice, I just got an attorney to come on the show. They love publicity and they'll answer all my legal questions for free. And today we're going to do the exact same thing. Today we've got Mark Podolsky on. Did I pronounce that right, Mark?
You did.
I
Great.
Nailed it. It's about time I finally got it right for a change. See, usually I have a name like Chef. So for me, it's like people destroy my name. Sheaf, Shep, Sheffer. I mean, they make letters up that aren't even there. I've never been there. It's hilarious. But so, Mark, you're with the Land Geek. Now, I've actually followed you for quite a while. You don't realize that, and that probably kind of creeps you out a little bit the way I said it that way. But but I've always been interested in the land business. I find it intriguing. And in Florida, you know, we have a couple postage stamp lots that they haven't paved over yet. So tell us about Land Geek. How did that come to be?
Well, the way I got sort of into land investing was I was a really miserable, unhappy investment banker in 2000. I had a 45-minute commute to work and back. I was micromanaged. I had a high stress job, long hours. And Tyler, it got so bad for me that I wouldn't get the Sunday blues.
Right.
Anticipating having to be back at work on Monday. I'd get the Friday blues, anticipating the weekend going by really fast.
Oh, God.
And having to be back at work on Monday. So my firm hires this guy, and he's telling me that on the side, he's going to these tax deed auctions, and he's buying up raw land, pennies on the dollar, and he's flipping them online, and he's making on average a 300% return on his investment. Well, I'm looking at companies all day long, and a great company has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow.
Right.
Great company. Your average company is at 10%, and I'm looking at companies all day long, less than 10%. So I don't believe him. So we go to New Mexico. I got $3,000 saved up for car repairs, and I do exactly what he says. I buy 10 half-acre parcels for $300 each. The next week, I put them up online. They sell for an average price of $1,200 each. It worked.
Get out of here.
So, it's crazy. So I took all that money. I went to another tax deed auction where I live in Arizona. And again, this is 2000. There's no one in the room.
Right.
And I'm buying up lots and acreage, and there's, for like nothing. And over the next 6 months, I made over $90,000 cash on that one auction. So Tyler, I went to my wife and I said, honey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to be a full-time land investor.
Oh, God.
And she said, absolutely not. So she was pregnant at the time. So I said, okay, fine. So I did land investing part-time until it exceeded the investment banking income, which took about 18 months. And I quit in 2001, and I've been doing it full-time ever since. And the way I do it is kind of unique, and I can kind of walk you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because 300 to 1,200, and I was just telling some of my students about about retail arbitrage. Guys, it's real simple: buy low, sell high. Right?
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't cost you $100,000 in a guru course to learn how to do that, but still, it's like, well, that's cool. $300 tax deed. I can't wait to hear. So I'll shut up and you go ahead.
Yeah. So no worries. So basically what I do is two things. I look for somebody who's not emotionally attached to the property and distressed in some way. So let's use you as a case study. So you're in Florida, right?
Right.
And I get the tax delinquent list of people that owe back taxes for properties in this one county in Texas. And all of a sudden I say, oh my gosh, this 40-acre parcel, Tyler Sheff, owes $200 in back taxes, and lives in Florida. So you're advertising to me two things. Number one, you don't value that property anymore, because when we don't value something, we don't pay for it. And number two, you have no emotional attachment to that property. You're not going out there on the weekends and hanging out there.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll look at the comparable sales for the last 12 to 18 months. And let's say, for example, it's $10,000. And all I'll do is divide by 4. And that gets me what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety. So the most I can pay for your property now, Tyler, is $2,500. So I send you an actual offer of $2,500. I don't say, hey, I'm interested in buying your property. I don't want to be in the appraisal business.
Right.
I send you an offer for $2,500. 3 to 5% of people will accept that quote unquote top dollar offer. And then once it's accepted, we'll go ahead and we'll do our due diligence. We'll make sure there's legal access. The back taxes are really only $200. You still own the property. There's no liens or encumbrances. There hasn't been a break in the title chain. And all this is done online now. So 90% of the business is automated with software, which we can talk about later, but just go with me here. So it cost me about $11 in the Philippines to get my due diligence done. Everything's clean. I buy the property from you, and now I own the property. And then, Tyler, I have a best built-in buyer. It's the one huge advantage I have in my model than any other real estate niche. Do you know who the best buyer is?
I can only imagine. eBay?
The neighbors.
Oh.
The neighbors.
Absolutely.
So I send out neighbor letters saying, hey, before I go to the open market, here's your opportunity. Expand your holdings, protect your privacy, protect your views. And oftentimes the neighbors will then go ahead and buy that property. Now, if they pass, I'll go to my buyers list. And these are people that have opted in for, they've opted in and they said, hey, I'm interested in being a land investor. And we have their email address. If the buyers list passes, we go to a little website you probably never heard of called Craigslist. And by pressing a button, I can put out 128 ads using automation. So, and then I can do the same thing with Facebook buy-sell groups. So by using this marketing strategy, I sell properties within 30 days or less. And then the way that I sell them is why I call this the ultimate subscription model, or the best passive income model. Is typically I'll get my money out on the down payment. So I'll get $2,500 down, and then I'll just make it a car payment, let's say $449 a month at 9% interest over the next 10 years. So now I get $2,500 down, $449 a month, and I don't have to deal with any renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with the tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act. So the game that we play, Tyler, is can we create enough of these land notes and have enough passive income coming in every single month where it exceeds our fixed expenses, and then we're working because we want to, not because we have to.
Oh my God, I'm sitting here with my mouth open. I'm like, what? Back up, mister. You said 11. Maybe I heard you wrong. I wrote down 11 with a question mark under due diligence. Did you mean $11 or 11?
I mean $11 for due diligence.
Like 11.
Like $11.
$1 bills.
$1 bills. I get the GPS coordinates. I get the GIS maps. I get the plat maps. I get aerial views. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
It is the best time ever to be in business.
I want to just thank you for listening to the Cash Flow Guys podcast. We are officially closed. For more information, ask Mark, the Land Geek. Because I'm thinking of, oh yeah, wow, this is interesting. Okay, you have my attention, sir. And you also, I'm going to roll back a little bit sooner. And you talked about Craigslist, 120 ads.
120 ads. So it's a software program that my buddy Scott Todd created. It's called postingdomination.com/The Land Geek. You should check it out. But essentially, using a VPN, you get a Boost mobile phone, so you can get Craigslist numbers. It's a whole system that basically cracks the Craigslist algorithm so that you can automate your ads and they stick. It's pretty detailed, but it's great.
That is amazing. I didn't know such an animal existed. I haven't done a Craigslist ad except for, please get this garbage out of my front yard in a long time.
Right, yeah.
For that very reason, it's a pain in the butt to post to Craigslist.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
So, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. See, it's like, geez, that's just awesome. And you get them. So first of all, let's talk about, we go back to the neighbors. Obviously the neighbors, they want most of, what's the percentage, would you say? See, I am actually tongue tied. Right. Folks, this is legit. I'm actually tongue tied. I'm like, I don't know what the hell to say next. So that's why people love my show. You never know what to expect. You talk to the neighbors. Why do you intentionally make it easy to buy to the neighbors? Is that one of the keys to get them to buy?
Well, the key with the neighbors is fear, right?
Right.
Because now it's fear of the unknown for them. And the fact that they now have an opportunity to protect what is theirs, right? And know who their neighbors are going to be is very emotionally powerful, right? They never thought they wanted more land in that area until they know that someone else is going to get that land. Absolutely. And once they realize someone else is going to get the land, now they want it all of a sudden.
Very interesting. So then at that point, wow, that's cool. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like my iPhone 10. Like, I didn't need to upgrade my iPhone. I loved my old iPhone, but the second my buddy bought it and showed it to me, I had to have it. Right? It was eating at me inside.
Oh, I'm with you. I literally got mine yesterday. The X. I'm like, I was at this iTunes store for an unrelated matter and walked out with an X. Don't need an X.
Yeah, don't need it.
Nothing wrong with my iPhone 7 Plus.
Right, exactly. But you probably had a buddy who had it and you didn't. You're like, oh, I got to have it.
Exactly. Oh, shiny. I must have that. Absolutely sure. So how did you get started? I mean, okay, let's roll back a little bit. You did a couple of these. You started making ridiculous money, right?
So I started making really, really good money and then kind of got, look, from 2001 to about 2008, a monkey could have made money in that real estate market. And Tyler, I was that dumb monkey, right? I didn't have any systems. I didn't have any automation. I didn't really even treat it like a business. Like, my neighbors thought I was a drug dealer. I'm working from home.
Right.
And, I've got all this money coming in. It was just too easy. So it wasn't until about 2010, I took a big hit in the business. And it's interesting because land is sort of the long tail of real estate. So as commercial and residential get hit, land takes its time. And then I got hit. And then as, homes and commercial started to recover, land took its sweet time recovering. But in that process, I started, kind of living out of control. I had to buy a multi-million-dollar home. I had to have the luxury cars. I've got 3 kids. No more public school. Had to go to private school. I mean, it was kind of crazy. And luckily, and it was, by the way, it was making us very unhappy. Like, my wife and I were fighting all the time. And especially as, I started seeing business slow down, it was, quite a process of kind of getting back to like, hey, what's really important to us and what are our values? And so instead of going out for like a steak dinner on a Saturday night, we would stay home and cook and play charades with the kids.
Right.
So it was really great in that respect of like, hey, this isn't going to really make us happy. But I didn't know that until I kind of lived through it. So as I started to recover, I really started to treat it like a business instead of just this, kind of fun thing for me to support a lifestyle. And that's when I created, systems and automation. So now today, 90% of this business is automated. I work 2 hours a week in Frontier Properties.
Wow.
I just look at spreadsheets. How many offers went out this week? How many deals are pending? How many deals do we close? How many deals do we sell? And as long as the numbers are increasing every month as they do, the team doesn't get an angry call from me after I've had coffee. So,
wow.
It's good. It's really incredible how I shifted to being a solopreneur into an entrepreneur. And that was really a great challenge.
So for you, I mean, how often do you get calls from realtors or whatnot? Like, I represent so-and-so, or does that happen? Or do these people actually,
realtors we don't really, deal with realtors because, a realtor doesn't want to sell a $20,000 piece of raw land.
Right.
They want to sell a $200,000 home. So it's usually, I say 99.9% of the time for sale by owner.
Wow. So wow. Let's go back to the research. I'm trying to figure out what's the hot button to identify the property? I mean, you got the tax deed sales, right?
Right. So, okay. So, you're in one of those hotbed areas,
right?
But nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd really like some raw land today in Iowa, unless you live in Iowa, right? But if you live in Florida, California, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oregon, Washington, these Colorado, these fast growing Southwest, Western, and Florida, the Sun Belt states, you have a massive market because people in the Midwest, in New York, right? It stokes their imagination, and then they want to buy it.
So I go find a little lot. I send them a letter. I guess the key here is volume, correct? As far as sending letters and offers, right?
Right. So exactly. So we always recommend when you first start, because you don't have your systems in place, just do 20 offers a day. Just break it up 20 offers a day.
20 offers a day. Okay. And these are just cash offers.
Right. These are cash offers.
And you're figuring, I guess I lost you there on how you're figuring your offer amounts. 300%.
Right. So we want to get a comparable sale.
Right.
So, and then divide by 4. And so that gets us a 300% margin of safety. So if the properties have been selling on average about $10,000, the most we can pay for that property is $2,500. Right.
I see. Okay. And this is all done from the VAs.
Well, no, when you first start, you don't want your VAs to do your county research.
Okay.
Right. There's a couple pieces where this is that 10%, right? You have to do that.
Okay. That's cool.
Because you're not going to rely on a $2 or $3 an hour VA to pick your county and do your market analysis. Now you could teach an acquisition manager, a higher level person to do that.
Right.
But not in the beginning. You want to be able to do that so that you understand, exactly why you're going into that market and what to look for, and can answer their questions.
So the premise here is that you've got somebody who has something they really don't want. Right. For whatever reason, they came about it, they inherited it. It's surplus. It's like stuff in your garage. This is really no different, except for this. They have to pay taxes every year, which that's no fun. So they've got something unwanted. So they have a problem, and you're finding you're able to secure these properties, and then you turn around and resell them to people that normally probably wouldn't be able to do this on their own. In other words, for whatever reason, they want a piece of land. You make it easy to buy for them, and everybody wins.
Exactly.
That's awesome. It's so ridiculously simple, but it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. How did you how did the automation piece come to pass? Is that just trial and error, or is that something that you bought a system, or what's that look like?
We basically took Podio, Zapier, and Globiflow, and then hired a developer to hard code it, because with that system, I'm really dependent on 3 different platforms. And if any one of those 3 platforms decide to jack up their prices, they get bought out and they get shut down, something like that, now I'm vulnerable.
Right. So
we basically hard coded what these 3 companies allowed us to do with automation, and created our own proprietary system.
Nice. And do you now lease access to that to folks outside of your company, or is that available?
Yeah, we do. So with our training, we do include that.
Okay, that's beautiful. So if somebody wants to get more involved in that and wants to maybe do like a business in the box, they can reach out to you and find out more about that as well.
Right.
That's cool. So what kind of land do people want? I mean, is it just like swampland in South Florida? Because I could sell you lots of that. I mean,
You know what? It's Tyler, sell to me, because you know what I can do on that land? I can grow shiitake mushrooms.
Oh, really?
So I learned the hard way. There's a pig for every barn. And even though you may not think that swampland's worth anything,
right,
someone else will. I mean, I've bought property that I personally thought looked like Chernobyl, and
right,
it all sold.
Huh.
And so, there's no accounting for taste. I actually watched a buddy of mine make $100,000 on one deal in New Mexico, because I thought, there's no way anyone is going to buy that land. And every time he would get a sale, he'd email me. And every time he emailed me, I'd email him back, refund. And then he'd email me another sale. And then I'd email him back, refund/lawsuit. And this went on for 6 months. Guess how many refunds he had?
None.
Yeah, 0. I learned that the hard way.
So how do you know what kind of land is in most demand? I mean, do you target a specific type of land, like farmland versus industrial versus residential? What, raw land?
Yeah, I mean, in those areas, in those states that I mentioned, the Southwest, a little bit in Northwest and Florida, you're going to find pockets where you can find the comparable sales where lots of investors are buying raw land there. And the market is massive. I mean, we're talking about billions of acres of land and no big money in this niche. There's no private equity groups doing this. There's no hedge funds. You're not going to go on the DIY network and see flip this land and watch me in front of a computer or HGTV, right? Shuffling paper. I mean, it's just not fun. So if you go to a RIA meeting, there'll be 100 people in that room. 99 of them are going to be house flippers and wholesalers. You and I are going to be only land people. Oh. So it's just massive.
Wow, that's crazy. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm beyond excited. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. It's like, I just got done. I was just working on, before this call, I was underwriting a apartment deal, and I'm sitting there going, man, there's a lot of moving parts to these things, and this is a lot of math, and I had to go through everything, and I'm thinking, if there was only a better way. And then lo and behold, you answered Skype. How about that? So
there you go.
Okay, guy coming into this, let's just say no experience in real estate necessarily at all, has let's say $5,000 to work with. Are we are we not in the ballpark? Can we start this with $5,000?
Yeah, $5,000 is great. I mean, I started with $3,000. My buddy Duran started with $800. I had one of my clients, Paul Mendel.
Right.
This guy was like broke, right? And all he could afford were mailings. So what he would do is he would lock up the property with the seller and extend the due diligence and say, hey, look, it's going to take me 90 days to do due diligence. Well, it takes about, 3 days.
Right.
So he would then send out the neighbor letters saying, hey, I've locked up this property at this price. And before I go to the open market with it, you have your opportunity to buy it. Well, so the neighbor then buys it, pays Paul. Paul takes the buyer, the buyer's money, pays off his seller, does a dual closing, and creates like $10,000 for himself in cash with maybe a couple $100 in mailings.
Nice. Little double close action going on there.
Little double close action. So you really don't need a lot of money.
Really? So, okay. What are the risks? I mean, there's got to be risks somewhere, right? I mean,
I think the biggest risk is not doing your county research correctly. You don't do that out of the gate well. You don't know your numbers. You don't divide by 4. You overpay. That's a big risk. You don't do your due diligence correctly. That's a risk. You don't go out and you don't market and you're lazy with your marketing. That's a risk. I mean, it's a simple model, but you and I know simple does not equate to easy. I mean, if it were easy.
Well, yeah, everybody be doing it. That's for sure.
Everybody be doing it. It ain't easy.
So what about enviro issues? Because down here in Florida, so in my backstory here, I had an opportunity that I fortunately passed on. It was, we used to be a gas station. They closed it down. Long story short, they had a bunch of cars out back. They leaked oil. The tank had leaked fuel. I didn't wind up buying it. Somebody else bought it. Come to find out, that guy wound up with like some ridiculous EPA fines and cleanup costs and all the stuff. It was well into the seven figures. Do you run into any of that with what you're doing, or is there a way to look at that?
Yeah, I mean, when we do our due diligence, we look at environmental issues. You can always go to EPA.gov, make sure you're not buying at a Superfund site.
Okay.
But typically, in the areas that we go to, there's no environmental issues. I remember I was looking at a big deal in Churchill County, Nevada, and I'm like, man, this property is so cheap. What's going on? I started doing my due diligence. It turns out the Air Force bombs out there. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. No wonder.
A little bit of unexploded ordnance.
I passed on that deal.
Don't ever buy around Fort McClellan, Alabama, because I found that used to be the U.S. Army Chemical Weapons Training Center. And guess what?
Oh, yeah.
They store chemical weapons there. And guess who went to military police school there? This guy. Big dogs landing on my face. But, you know,
my God.
Yeah. So there's some sort of a settlement option going on right now. So I guess, yeah, around military bases might be a little scary, but
yeah,
realistically, the average person, one of the people that listen to this show, they got maybe, I don't know, how much money do they realistically need to make a go at this if they're willing to do the work?
I mean, again, I'd say, $1,000 is a good start. You don't need a lot of money. I mean, you need some money.
Right.
You got to be able to send out offers, and you got to get some education, or not.
That's nothing.
But,
That's
it's not much.
I mean, the average person brings home that in 2 weeks. I hope. Maybe I'm out of touch. I don't know. It's been a while, but but yeah, that's amazing. So just to so I make sure I'm clear, because it's so ridiculously simple. I'm trying to complicate it, I'm sure. So just, virtually slap me. We locate a property that's with a seller that's in some sort of distressful situation in some way.
Right.
Using your words,
right.
Back taxes, whatever. We send an offer for basically 25% of what we feel comparable sales value is. So using a $10,000 retail value model based on comparable sales, we would offer 25% of that, 1/4 of that. So $2,500. We use a system that we can get access to through you or through your team,
right,
to take advantage of
it.
Right, to automate this whole thing. And does that include or not include due diligence?
That includes due diligence.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're going to have your first customer at the end of this episode.
So we have trained VAs that I have an office in the Philippines, and our trained VAs, our Land Geek VAs do the due diligence.
Nice. You have your own. That's just awesome. All right. So then you use a marketing system that you've already done the work, gone through the growing pains. You've already stupid proofed it, the marketing, so to speak.
Right.
It's turnkey in a box, ready to go. And this is my favorite part, you avoid, because there's no tenants and there's no people involved. There's nobody's moving in, right? There's no Dodd-Frank, no RESPA. And folks, RESPA means Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act, right? Am I right about that, Mark?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
I should know that I have a real estate license. I think it's a test question. Right. But it's been 18 years since I took the test, but whatever. But so no government drama, basically, involved. Right. You can just make money. That's what you're allowed to do. And
correct.
You're leveraging a property. You're leveraging what somebody doesn't want and providing it to somebody that does want it. Oh my God, that's
correct.
Awesome. Why isn't everybody? I mean, do you do anything else besides land?
I don't do anything else besides land, and the reason is, I'm an inch wide and a mile deep. Is like you said. I mean, I did get a little bit of shiny object syndrome with some other real estate niches, and I found that compared to what I was doing, I'm making on average about 1,000% return on my money,
right, with
very little risk. And I don't need a lot of capital. I don't need outside investors. I don't need hard money. There's no competition. I couldn't find anything better. So yeah, are you going to be a billionaire in this market and in this niche? Absolutely not. If you want to be a billionaire, this is not where you want to go, because the deals aren't big enough, right? you start buying multi-million-dollar lots of land, let's say farmland, right? Well, now you're competing with Ted Turner and Warren Buffett. I mean, this is billionaires. They buy productive farmland and they make 8%. But in my niche, this is a great way to create passive income and freedom. So a good example is Scott Todd. He did 192 deals last year, and he was able to replace his Fortune 300 income, by like 10x, and quit his job and do this full time. A guy like Scott Bossman, who's a physical therapist, he's got more passive income now than he does as making as a full time physical therapist. Now he's got a choice. Do I want to continue practicing or do I want to quit? Sean Rickman, Rachel Mueller, they quit their jobs. They've got over $5,000 a month passive income over the last year. They just travel the world, bring their laptop, and they do this business. And that's the other thing, is it's scalable. You can do this from anywhere in the world with your laptop.
Oh, that's the beauty
and
of
your
it.
internet connection. Yeah, so it's great. So it's a great lifetime business, lifestyle business. I have one of my clients, Tom Willis. He's at over $10,000 a month in passive income, and he's able to retire his spouse. But then I saw him, and he was going into mobile home park investing. I said, Tom, why are you going through this brain damage? He's like, Mark, I want to be, really, really big. And I said, okay, great. That's really the next. So I feel like land is the gateway drug to the next level of real estate.
Well, for us,
if you want to do it, I don't want to do it, but how much is enough?
Well, yeah, and we just went through this process the last couple of years. My wife and I were like, "How big do we want to grow this monster?" And what we get our kicks from really is helping people get out of the rat race. That's really what it comes down to for us. Right. And it's a rush when I can hold somebody's hand when they look at their boss and say, "I'm done," because I learned how to eliminate my debt. By focusing on it and eliminating it, getting rid of it. And now I've, the janitor, there's a reason why the janitor gets out of the cash flow game, gets out of the rat race faster than everybody else, because it's easier. And the doctor's in the rat race forever. And see, we didn't ever want to build ourselves to be this massive, I don't want to be Grant Cardone. That job's already taken, right?
Right.
And I'm far too tall. No disrespect to Grant. I love Grant Cardone. But
I love him too. I had him on our podcast.
Did you? He's a great guy.
Yeah, and he was great. But I don't know where he gets the energy.
I don't either, man. It's I'm 47 years old. I don't know how old you are, but I'm
46.
See, I'm tired, man. I just bought a jet ski because I bought a little duplex that's going to pay for it. Right. That's fun because I don't know about you, Mark, but all my friends are dying over time. They're starting, friends our age are starting to get sick and have issues. And it's like, life's too short. Something like this.
I agree. It's so true. Yeah.
See, this is awesome for that. And this is for us. We went all in and did syndicates and apartments, and that's all fine and dandy. You got all these different moving parts. You got all these doors, all these tenants, toilets, all this stuff. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Also have vacation rentals, but we've tried different things to see what we really like. And the less we have to deal with the tenants and toilets model, which for us, non-performing notes is awesome for that because we don't have to deal with the headaches, right?
Right.
We have a team that does all the work, but this is brilliant because you're not putting out a lot of capital. I wish I would have known this a couple of years back.
Then if you want to automate the collection of your rental notes, your rental payments, I actually created that with a program called geekpay.io because I have so many notes and I would hate it when, a payment would bounce and I'd have to call the customer, or I hate it when they would call me and say, "Hey, Mark, what's my current balance?"
Right.
Or, "Hey, Mark, can I make a prepayment this month?" So now we automate it with our software. I mean, I'm telling you, it's the best time ever to be alive. Now I'm trying to get you to my GeekPay program. I just want to create more time for you, Tyler. You can always make more money. You can't get more time.
I don't need any more money, Mark. At this point, I need more time.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I do on this stuff.
I will gladly trade in a few of the tasks that I do now for money. I will gladly trade those in for a couple land notes. That's for sure. This is brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I hope you're as excited as I am. You're listening to the show. You're like, half of them right now, Mark, are probably pulled over on the side of the road as they're listening to this. and they're like writing it down, going, how do I reach this guy? He's like the Messiah or something.
Funny.
This is awesome. You've done all the work. It's in a box. We can buy it. How do we reach out to you? I'll put a link in the show notes.
I think the best thing to do is go to thelandgeek.com, download for free the Passive Income Blueprint, get our ebook, How to Avoid the 3 Fatal Land Buying Mistakes, and get our podcast delivered each week to your email inbox. And then, Tyler, if they email support@thelandgeek.com and just put in the subject line Tyler or Cash Flow Guys, we'll send them for free our $97 Passive Income Launch Kit.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Pleasure. Mark, that was mind blowing. I got to tell you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be, ladies and gentlemen, I've got more questions for Mark, but I'm going to hang up the recording now. You're just going to have to reach out to him yourself. I'm going to be selfish right now, but I think that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anything you want to add to folks before we wrap up here?
No, one of my favorite quotes is that Zig Ziglar quote. If you'll do for the next 3 to 5 years what other people won't do, you'll be able to do for the rest of your life what other people can't do.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. I tell people on my Facebook profile, I have this picture. It's a tropical background, right? And It says, I tried to tell you. You asked me what I do. I tried to tell you. And people just don't, they're not willing. A lot of people aren't willing to do the work and take the action, but it sounds like you've taken a lot of the work out of it, Mark.
Yeah. Every pain point that I've had, I've solved for myself and then pay it forward to my clients.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I try to be a good mentor.
I already feel like one of your mentees. I think that's awesome. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. Cash Flow Guys, Cash Flow folks. Here you go. I mean, we've done some amazing episodes. This has got to be amongst the top of that heap. This is good information, but as with any good information, it only works if you take the action to pull the trigger. So as Mark said, head on over to thelandgeek.com. I will put that in the show notes. thelandgeek.com. Get over there, send him an email, support@thelandgeek.com, mention Cash Flow Guys or mention me, Tyler, and he will send you over a $97 product absolutely free of charge to get you started, which is awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2018. By the time you're listening to this episode, it probably will already be 2018 or darn close to it anyway. Take some action this year. Get financially free. Join Mark and I. How much golf can we play, Mark?
You know what? I'm never going to retire. I have no interest
in
retiring. Yeah, none. I love hustling. I love working when I want, where I want, with whom I want. That's all I want to do.
Exactly. We're in travel mode right now. My wife and I, we're once a month, we're out of here and gone somewhere new. So that's our big thing. Absolutely. Yeah, but we take the cameras, record content because I'm still working. I love what I do. So,
yeah, exactly.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap right there because I'm going to be selfish and talk to Mark about signing up myself. But if you found value in this podcast, please give us a review on whatever podcast player you happen to be listening to. If you're on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, any one of those podcast players, make sure you leave some feedback. Let us know. And as always, if we can help you, if you ever are stuck, you don't know how to get going to the next step, you lack the motivation, you don't know how to get going in the right direction, or you just simply want to talk about the weather, go to cashflowguys.com/ask Tyler. That will give you a 30-minute free consultation only on Fridays with me. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about to help get you unstuck. You got questions you don't want to share with everybody else. That's the place to do it. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, make sure you head on over to cashflowguys.com/group. That is absolutely free of charge. Feel free to post any real estate or investing related questions there, and we will answer them for the group. Once again, folks, appreciate you coming out this week, and we hope you have a profitable week.
This concludes today's episode. You don't have to wait till the next episode to learn to earn.
Head over to cashflowguys.com and contact Tyler and his team for more powerful tips and ideas so you can start generating multiple streams of income and escape the rat race.